Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Neurology 2. It's a minor subject. No? So we'll talk about adult neurology, which is in most hospitals is under the Department of Internal Medicine. In our institution, we have our own department. It's a Department of Clinical Neurosciences. But our patient doctor subject is also, I think, being managed by internal medicine, but we have our own schedule. So our synchronous activity for today will have two parts. The first part is the orientation, and the second part is the lecture, which is mostly a review session. Um, you can interrupt me anytime if you want to raise some questions. So let's start. Okay. So the course objectives. So we have lectures. Well, technically, these are given to you beforehand, before the synchronous activity. So mm, somehow you're coming from second year, so that's neurology one, and neurology one intends to have a smooth transition from the basic sciences, particularly basic neurosciences, to clinical neurology. So now you're having clinical neurology. You have to apply the basics in the approach and management of neurological disease. So you will learn how to deal with common neurological diseases in terms of diagnosis and treatment, also prognostication. No? Okay. So during your preceptorial class, which is unlike in second year, no, it's the same as second year, all throughout the school year. It depends on your section on the timing, no, and which in the grouping. So this time you will have ward work in the actual preceptorial class. So again, we have to review. I think you have limited time to discuss and demonstrate a complete neurological exam. And also this school year we don't have an OSCE. OSCE will be done per preceptorial class. So modules, no, the subject. This was the emphasized to us during our teacher training. So the effective learning is when we try to evaluate our students in terms of how they were able to evaluate and analyze. No, that's the highest point. So in terms of remembering naman, well, that's the very basic. So going to correlate it with the tests that you're going to have as much as possible since you are already in third year. We try to create questions that are mostly in the at the level of understanding, applying, analyzing, or evaluating. We try to refrain from giving out questions more on remembering. No? So that's the plan. So learning experience, comparing it from way back when we were students. So usually it's the traditional, no, Like this one, the teacher keeps on talking all throughout the sessions, minimal interaction. So with this, with the advent of COVID, um, our COVID experience, so we try to adapt with the situation, came out with online learning or mixed online and face-to-face learning. So we will try to maximize. But I think the learning experience nowadays is more comprehensive and more favorable to the student and the teacher, I guess. But year in, year out, we keep on hearing how they say this negative feedbacks on how we deliver the curriculum, mainly because they want that I don't know about some of you know the previous third years, some of them, but not, well, only some, no? Konti lang naman yung nagreklamo. They want the lectures to be delivered, no, by the uh, teachers and go away with the case discussions. Pero I think those who give comments like that does not appreciate the analysis part, no? Kasi when you during my time, I get bored, no? When teachers just tell you, especially if you are reading in advance, if you have the time, the teacher sometimes just read what's in the PowerPoint. Might as well read the book, 'di ba? So, yun yung ano doon. And looking at this slide, no? You will see the interaction. So you have different materials, you have a case to discuss, and then correlate it. And then when in terms of entertaining questions, clarifications, the one who did the lecture, no, the one who uploaded the lecture is present during synchronous activity. So maximize your time. Ah, yun kasi yun eh. This is for adult learning, no? Hmm. Ayoko na masyado i-emphasize pero this is for adult learning. And if you want to be a doctor, then ito kasi very maganda tong setup, no? Compared to the traditional one. So teaching learning activities, you have 2 hours lecture. The subject is very easy, no? If you study, okay? We are just a minor subject and it seems intimidating for some, but it's very easy, especially if you were able to get by second year neurology. No? 2 hours week of preceptorial class. I'm not sure about this kung 6 to 9 meetings, especially if you have holidays. No? So well later no, I'll just emphasize no with regards to the grading system. Uh, so yeah, this one. Um, so last year kasi well, all of the grade weight is on the exams part. But this year we try to get some of that weight, no? Lessen the burden of the exams. Distribute it in some fruitful activities din naman that deserves to be graded, no? Um, so this is the breakdown. They want their exams to be progressively, how do you say this, incorporate previous topics from the previous exams and include it with the succeeding exams. So ito yung breakdown niya. So by the third exam, which is the last exam for the first semester, you will notice there are 5 questions coming from the first long exam coverage. But that's it. Uh, including also in the finals. Okay. Sige. Going back for the preceptorials and synchronous activity, we will grade the participation of each student in the preceptorials. For the synchronous activity, it's for the whole batch, yung participation grade, okay? So it will be based on the interaction, the verbal communication, and the behavior. Okay. For the quiz during the preceptor, for the OSCE, during the first meeting, I think the meeting will be on September 23 pa naman. So we'll have your groupings for any clarifications. By the way, we created a Viber group, no, with the class presidents and with the other, what's your term with that? Hindi naman assistants, no? Parang class, ano yung term nyo? Sorry. Class presidents with,
LOs o DOC.
ano yan? Ano yan? Sorry. LOs? Tama ba? Adrian.
Liaison officers po, Doc.
I'm sorry. Ano yun?
Liaison officers po.
Yon. Sorry. LOs. Liaison officers. Okay. Okay. So, we have a Viber group. Uh, so, open naman yung communication. Any time of the day. Actually, pwede naman. Uh, with regards to schedule, etc. So, yung OSCE, I proposed to the department, which they agreed naman, during your first meeting in the preceptorial class, you will have an OSCE, draw lots, okay? Simple assessment. So there's a pretest, and at the end of the preceptorial class, supposed to be your last day during preceptorial, no? You will have a graded OSCE na, okay, for the neurological examination. The quiz will be on the cases that you encountered, no, during your preceptorial class, the cases in the ward. So it will be given during your last meeting or during the last session prior to your OSCE. Um, I want to limit it to just 10 questions. Okay. Synchronous activity, like I mentioned, you will be graded as a batch, no? And then the quiz. Now, this is something new that I would like to propose. It's somehow a pre-synchronous activity quiz based on the succeeding or the lecture topic for the week. So this will be in Canvas. Okay. For me to check, no, Canvas. And I will you can view it, you can start answering it as soon as I uploaded the lectures and the case to be discussed. Okay. Now the cases to be discussed, it will be assigned per group. Okay. So depending on all year out, you have how many subjects? 12 eh. So mga 24, I think 24 topics. No, 24 topics kasi 12 topics per semester. Excluding my lecture. Okay. Kasi before you have a long exam, you have 4 new topics. Tapos another 4 to add and another 4. So that's 12. So divide your whole batch to 24 groups for the case protocol lectures. Okay. And then the quiz, again, I will limit it to 5 questions lang. 5 questions lang. No? It's based on topic to be discussed in the synchronous activity. So I will open it by weekend. Usually kasi yung lecture na-upload siya by weekend, no? Tapos I'll open the canvas. You can answer the quiz by weekend and until Wednesday afternoon. Okay? Clear so far? You have any questions? Any questions or none?
None at the moment, Doc.
Okay, thank you. So again, don't worry, I'll upload this in Canvas, okay? Later later today, no, I'll upload this. So like I mentioned, no, we have Wednesday synchronous activity, then the uploaded annotated lecture and case protocol will be uploaded. So for the preceptorials, like I mentioned, during the first meeting, you will have an OSCE just to see what you learned during the second year. Last session, during the preceptorials, you will have the graded OSCE and the quiz, no? Prior to that. Session prior to the OSCE. It depends on your section. Usually, section C will have it for this first semester, and then both section A and B will have the preceptorials during the second semester. This is in the succeeding slides, I'll be showing you the topics. No? So actually, you can read beforehand. It's well, big topics. We feel that these topics will equip you in your clinical practice, even if you don't want neurology. Okay. So again, it's color coded to emphasize the topics that are included in the long exam for this, no? 5 topics pero very minimal lang naman yung questions related to mine, no? At mostly on the succeeding 4 topics, yung content ng long exam, first long exam. This is the second long exam. During the first semester, we don't have any problems in terms of holidays, scheduling, etc. Now, just to highlight, we have a deadline for the leave of absence filing. That's on September 19 before the second long exam, which is very, I think, premature. At this time, baka wala pa naman nag-file ng LOA. Okay, so this is the third long exam coverage. We have your SEM break December 6, early for this year, no? Tapos start early then, January 4. Start second SEM. I think dito tayo may problem because of, well, um, if you will notice, the exam period is on Feb. By January, by the end of January, we covered 4 topics already, but the long exam is scheduled on the second week of February. To maximize the schedule, we insert neurotoxicology, a topic that's supposed to be covered during the fifth long exam. And now comes a question whether February 25 will be declared a holiday. If it's not possible, as long as there's no memorial lecture scheduled on March 4. Kasi like now, there's a memorial lecture, no? Usually Wednesday siya morning, 8 to 10. We can take that. So, we will inform you ahead of time. Okay? Don't worry. Second semester pa naman to. Pero yan yung plan ko, no? If ever March 4, you will have 2 synchronous activities. Okay. So, cramp up yung schedule. The following, meron na namang, I think, meron na namang, yeah, that's it. Okay. You will notice again, same scenario, no? fifth long exam by March 11. We don't have any by March 11 covered na yung topics for the fifth long exam. But the fifth long exam is scheduled 2 weeks after that. So March 18 inserted yung topic for the sixth long exam. Okay. Tapos yan yung finals. This is based on the school calendar that was given by the College of Medicine. So I seek approval from the coordinator, Dr. Tablante, and okay naman. Okay. So far clear ba? Don't worry, I'll upload this presentation. These are the sources, resources, no, our textbooks. So we have a 11th edition of Adams. It's relatively new. The De Meyer, this is our basis for the, well, in second year, alam nyo na yun, no? Pati itong Brasis localization. Harrison is a good reference then, but mostly Adams and dun sa lectures. The other books are supplements and it's very helpful. I think it's available in the library. It's lalo na tong Afifi and Blumenfeld, the ones located in the left lower, in the lower books, no? It helps you in your localization together with Brasis and during preceptorials. I think you can download the PDF file of these books. Eh. Mm. And of course, you have the neurology course manual. Oh, okay. Questions so far before we proceed with the review class? Okay, you know this. Alam niyo naman to. Oh. Study and repeat all the things. Questions so far? You have any questions? Okay. Let me chat box. Okay, hello. Let me just share the review session. Okay. So far, wala pa tayong problem, no? Okay. Can you see the slides?
Yes po, Doc.
Ayun, 403 na tayo. Is this the complete class? 403. Okay. Sige. So this is the first lecture. It's a review lecture on neuro examination, neuroanatomy and localization. Like I mentioned earlier, you are now introduced to clinical neurology. So you will be applying what you learned in the basic clinical neurosciences together with the neurological examination that you learned from last school year. And 'di ba, the highlight of your last year neurology one is localization. So it's very important in clinical neurology. Okay. Localization. Uh, this is discussed in Adams, no, the clinical method. So just want to read it aloud, no, because these are the steps that will guide you in patients, no, in dealing with patients. So you need your objective data coming from the history, symptoms, and signs from the physical examination. So after you get your objective data, you analyze this data. What are the relevant symptoms? Tease out any unnecessary or irrelevant facts, no? Tapos correlate it from the basic neurosciences, especially neuroanatomy. Localize, no? If you have to ask yourself if there is any lesion in the neuroaxis or the nervous system. If there is a lesion, where is the lesion? That is the process of localization. And then after you localize, what can happen within in that area, specifically in that area? What is the etiology or what is the lesion? And then in terms of the management, uh, after localizing, you will be able to plan for the diagnostic workup, imaging studies, physiological studies possible, and then assess the degree of the disability brought about by the neurological disease. Again, just to reiterate, no, the flow or the steps of neurologic disease. Okay. So important data in establishing diagnosis, like in other fields of medicine, you have demographics, symptom onset and development. I think during your PD class, you know how to illustrate, no? Yung ano natin, history of present illness, yung graph, no? Um, medical history and PE, family history, social history, incidence and prevalence of diseases. This is very important, no? Yung knowledge about the incidence and prevalence of diseases. Like there are certain diseases that are seen in a particular part of our country. If you're familiar with Lubag, no? That's a movement disorder disease, X-linked dystonia of Panay. Maraming ganun din eh. Tapos in terms of age group, no? Specific like for stroke, usually it's 55 to 60 years old, but nowadays we have relatively younger patients as early as 28 years old. I've seen stroke patients. So labeled sila stroke in the young. Mga ganong ano. So in these cases, since the usual suspects of the stroke I'm pertaining to the usual risk factors such as diabetes, dyslipidemia or increased cholesterol and hypertension are not usually the culprit, no, for the patient to have a stroke at a younger age. So further workup is needed. Okay. Okay. So these are the major categories of neurologic disease. You need this when you try to determine your primary working impression or what's your diagnosis, and together with the differential diagnosis. In neurology, it's advised that you have at least 2 to 3 differential diagnoses given a case, which is related to the chief complaint, of course. Always go back to the chief complaint of the patient, no? When determining your primary working impression. So you have infectious, genetic, congenital, traumatic, degenerative, vascular, toxic, metabolic, inherited or acquired, neoplastic, inflammatory, psychogenic, iatrogenic. Okay. So, ito yung umbrella term. But I think meron ditong sometimes hindi rin classify. Like for example, and sometimes they overlap, no? Um, we have movement disorders, no? Ito kasi sa book eh. But we have movement disorders. Movement disorders, kung ilalagay natin dito sa major category, it's a degenerative disease, no? But there are movement disorders that are also iatrogenic, no? Iatrogenic, meaning drug-induced, like one is given metoclopramide, okay? Pwede rin siyang infectious in children having rheumatic disease. So, maraming pwedeng overlapping, but at least you know what's the possible major category. Wala rin dito yung epilepsy, no? Epilepsy, pain, etc. That's why yung topics natin in neurology, it's very practical, very basic, no, in terms of clinical neurology. And inserted din yung mga somehow somehow nice to know, but very very minimal, okay? So let me just discuss some uh, distinct temporal profiles of patients with neurological disease. So this is a typical temporal profile of a stroke patients. So classified under cerebrovascular disease siya pag stroke. So very sudden ang onset with the symptoms at the onset depending on the stroke, but pero most of them talaga is very sudden, okay? And the peak or the severity of the symptoms is maximal at the onset. But some temporal profile of stroke patients, especially yung mga thrombotic, uh, they progress pero in a short period of time, no, kitang-kita yung kanilang signs and symptoms. Okay. Compare it with the tumor, brain tumor. So may non-specific, when I say non-specific, it means that these symptoms is not specific to a neurologic disease. So it is shared by other field of medicine, like headache naman, most of the time it's not related to the brain, okay? And fever, body weakness, especially if it's generalized body weakness. Kahit saan naman pwede yung very broad yung kanilang symptoms. Pero during the, as you can see in the temporal profile, it progresses slowly, no? Leading to seizure. So in this case, if the patient was admitted, the chief complaint is seizure, di ba? Tapos on the history of present illness, you will discuss it's a 3-month long development of the sign of the symptoms. Okay. Dementia is far more chronic, but there are relatively um, subacute presentation of dementia. No? As you will learn in the lecture topics. No? So this one 5 years siya, no? Poor memory, yan, spaces things. Forget. Ito kasi parang ano na to eh. Yun na yung merong incident na nangyari sa prior. So usually they're not admitted. No, they are picked up in the cases are seen in the outpatient na. Siguro tong reason for admission is usually fall in my experience, no. Nahuhulog, may head trauma. Yun, or another neurologic disease like stroke, etc. Or may psychiatric event like nawala siya, tapos may behavioral change, hysteria that can be harmful to the caregivers and to the patient, no? Usually ganun yung reason for admission. Pero most of the time, the dementia patients are diagnosed in the outpatient clinic. CNS infection can be acute and subacute depending on the infection. Like, for example, bacteria and viral, usually acute, less than a week. No? For the chronic ones, TB can be subacute, like a matter of less than a month. Pero for other, like uh, fungal infection, yun, medyo chronic siya, no? Months siya. Weeks to months. So again, may non-specific na fever and then headache. Okay. Demyelinating disease, very ano to, neurologic condition, no? Ganun din, interesting yung temporal profile niya because it can be very subtle, but the patient is very irritated with the recurrence of the symptoms. And sometimes with the first attack, no, the first symptom like this one 2 years ago, can be very subtle. It's like a tip of the iceberg, no. That's why in patients having a focal deficit when you do your PE, or sometimes during your history taking, you pick up a complaint that's somehow points to a neurologic problem because it's very focal, like sudden onset of one-sided weakness that it resolved spontaneously. So that's a hint. Maybe you're dealing with a neurological disease, no? Whether in terms of your physical examination findings and during your neurological examination, like history of seizure, etc., history of blank stares, etc. Okay. Kita nyo, very intermittent siya, no? So, along the way, pwede siya talaga ma-misdiagnose. Pwede siya ma-misdiagnose. So, these are the tips found in your ADAMS, no? Avoid suggesting to the patient the symptom that one seeks. Ang hirap nito eh. Sometimes when you are, syempre, you see a lot of patients, you try to listen to your patient and be patient, no, in listening. And sometimes when you learn things, no, from recent updates, when you read your books, no, sometimes you try to fit in the diagnosis based on what you read. Pero it's supposed to be the opposite way around. You have to collect the data from your patient first, and then that's the time when you try to analyze, put the book into it, kumbaga. Not the other way around, okay? Hindi mo siya i-fit. Kasi most patients will not, they don't present in a textbook manner, okay? So, learn precisely how each symptom began and progress. Estimate the mental capacities of patients. So, important to note that. So your objective data, your history taking will be based on the caregivers, no, uh, account. Also, some in some patients who are not cooperative, then in the comatose patients, you will rely on your knowledge of the neurological exam localization, and so very limited yung time mo to examine the patient. So, mostly observation siya and certain maneuvers that you already know, no, based on your second year sessions. So, patient's own interpretation of the symptoms. So, it's nice to ask, no, what do they think about, ano, what's the cause of their health problem. Okay, just to correlate, no, in terms of the neuro exam and the nervous system. So it's arranged in such a way that you will not miss out anything when you do your neuro exam. It's supposed to be in order, no? Rostrocaudal order from top to bottom. So, kasi if you're going to use it the other way around, I mean, in terms of yung order, no? Baka mamaya, you test for the gait, you ask the patient to walk, pero without knowing na he has a muscle problem, so bagsak siya kaagad, no? So ito yun, cortical brain pertains to mental status. By this time, you know what's the difference between a mini mental status exam by psychiatry, no? In terms of mental status, in such a way they resemble one from the other. Actually, in your textbook, it's some parts of the mini mental some parts of the mini mental status exam is discussed, no, in the Meyer, di ba? If you will notice. But we emphasize, no, na in mental status exam, we are looking for signs that will indicate a problem with a certain lobe of the cerebral cortex. No, yung frontal, parietal, temporal, occipital. Okay? So you are doing the mental status exam to pick up any problems with with those particular lobes. No? Kung may frontal lobe problem siya, what is the result of the mental status exam? Ganun. Okay? Now, subcortical, you have the cranial, first two cranial nerves, subcortical siya. Tapos sa brainstem divided into three. So that's the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. So yung cranial nerves, both subcortical and brainstem. You have the long tracts, the motor, sensory, and then the reflexes, cerebellum. Coordination and gait is just a summary of how the networks and the interaction works within several systems, like frontal lobe has an influence on gait. Sensory also has an influence on gait. So, and then the meninges. Okay. So how to ensure an orderly complete exam? So like I mentioned, uh, always remember, no, it's designed in such a way that you'll do it from top to bottom, and it's correlated to the neurological setup or the setup of the nervous system, whether if it's a central nervous system or peripheral nervous system. Walang mamimiss out. Yung ano dun yung autonomic nervous system kasi it's very broad. You will you can assess that during your general examination kasi a complete neurological examination is not complete without the general examination. Like for example, orthostatic hypotension. Okay? Pwede kasing symptom siya ng autonomic nervous system problem. So, sa BP, okay? Avoid shortcuts, no? Kasi this is your objective data. So, if you are going to localize and going to propose an initial impression, you will rely on your data. Okay? So, baka may ma-miss out ka kasi if you are going to do shortcuts. So, lay out your instruments in the order of use. So, in your level, at your level, this is encouraged para lang um, just to somehow reinforce the knowledge or the behavior, no, of doing the neurological examination. Pero when you do it diligently and repetitively in your neurological patients, there will come in time na parang second nature na lang siya, no? Okay. So this is found in your book, instruments. Sometimes redundant yung iba, but ang point is you use them to assess you use them in certain parts of the neurological examination. Okay. Again, just an reiteration, no, of what I mentioned. See, well, these are projection fibers in the frontal lobe. And if you're going to correlate it with the part of the neuro exam or the mental status exam testing the frontal lobe, you are testing these areas. In the cerebral cortex, some tasks, no? The cerebral cortex has not just longitudinal fibers. You have these horizontal or association fibers then. So what does that mean? If you will notice in your mental status exam, some task given to the patient already checks not one but two, no? Two lobes. No, for example, asking the patient to name. No, what is this? What color is this? So if you're going to that's the response of the patient is usually in the frontal lobe, whether it's a vocal or non-vocal or a motor response. Expressive, kumbaga. Kasi the areas of the brain can be expressive or receptive, no? Especially in language, okay? Decision making dito rin, no? Expressive output ng language dito rin. So, yun. So, what I'm trying to say is, I think by now, you know that. So, you can tailor fit on how you do your mental status exam. Kasi minsan doon natatagalan eh. Especially if you're still trying to remember everything. Pero, there's no hard and fast rule. There's no script actually. In your manual, those are just suggestions. Pero for you to create your own, that's the best thing that can happen. No? For you to be able to create your own script, kumbaga, on what tasks to do. Kasi basically, you just have to do two tests to check for the integrity of a particular loop. And if one fails, one test has a failed result, then you can dig deeper by asking the patient to do further testing of that particular loop. Okay, that's what I got from my seniors. Okay, again, these are some of the functions of the frontal lobe. If you are familiar with this is trail making test. The patient is instructed to connect the circles with the line. So alternating with the numbers and the letters. Okay. So this is part of the MOCA test. No? MOCA test is a screening test for mild cognitive impairment and dementia. Like an MMSE, no, for cognition, pero MOCA test is sensitive to pick up yung milder version ng dementia, which is a mild cognitive impairment. Okay. Parietal lobe, you have all this location. Ang very unique about the parietal lobe in terms of the symptoms, you have dominant and non-dominant. Okay, dominant and non-dominant. Eh, siguro familiar or alam nyo na yung Gertzmann syndrome, no? It was discussed in your second year, okay? So, yan. This is all the functions, parietal lobe. You will notice, no, yung test na to. Meron siyang neglect on the right side. Parang ang instruction is to draw an intersecting line on the lines that can see on the paper. So there are a lot of ways to do this testing for the neglect. No? And usually itong neglect, it's a right hemisphere disorder, RHD or right hemisphere disorder. Usually non-dominant parietal lobe problem to. You have the temporal lobe. Okay. This is the function, temporal lobe. You have the occipital lobe. and this is the function. Okay. Now we go to the cranial nerves. Mentioned certain cranial nerves with the particular segments of the brainstem. Two of them is located in the subcortical area above the brainstem. Well, you know this, no? The technique is very particular. Again, we this year we want to reinforce, no, yung your knowledge about doing the neurological exam. So not just about knowledge, but um, your technique on how to do it. Okay? Kasi I'm sure it was emphasized, no? How the container should be opaque, how to test it, all these parts of the neuro exam. Okay? Test substance in particular, you know that hindi pwede yung alcohol, no? Or ammonia. Step by step, no? You have your ophthalmological examination and meron naman, I think by now dapat there's no confusion, no? So we just do this the same as of the department. Mas detailed lang yung sa kanila. Ito kasi it's more of our localization. If you're going to look at how the ophthalmology department do their eye exam, they have ways on how to test if the problem is in the periphery. When I say periphery, it's outside the central system or the brain. No? This one component kasi like central vision, peripheral vision, pupils, fundoscopy. Related yan sa brain. Yung mga example for lead examination, tonometry, etc. That's a local problem in term ko. Periphery or local problem. Okay? Cranial nerves, eye movements, okay? By now, alam nyo na to. It's a mixed nerve, yung trigeminal nerve. You have the sensory and the motor, particularly yung muscles of mastication. Cranial nerve 7, the difference between a peripheral and a central problem. Yung part of the cranial nerve 7 that's often neglected, tama ba yung term ko? Neglected, is testing the taste, no? Kasi very, how they say this, lots of instruments needed, tapos very tasking, at saka very intrusive din siya in the patient, no? Like the eliciting gag reflex. Pero it's better to do this to localize where in the cranial nerve 7 pathway is affected. Kasi in Brasis, that's a good discussion, no? When you try to localize problems related to cranial nerve 7. Very particular siya, no? Like at the part of chorda tympani, before chorda tympani, what are the symptoms? Kasi meron din siyang mga secretions na problem. Also, pati yung sa sound, no? Related to cranial nerve 8. Yung stapedius muscle, it dampens the sound. So, kung merong unequal hearing perception, the louder perception on a particular ear does not mean always na it's the normal part, yung louder. Pwede kasi yun yung abnormal in the case of facial nerve. Lalo na if on that side meron kang facial palsy. Okay? So, inspection, gross hearing test, Weber's test. Again, with otorhino department, dapat wala nang mix-up to. Okay? So, I think pareho naman, in sync naman, no? For both departments. Very important dito is yung palatal symmetry and guttural sound. Sometimes kasi gag reflex is absent in some people, no? It doesn't mean that you cannot swallow. Very important is yung functional assessment. Can they swallow? Not included is the functional assessment. So in stroke, we have gas swallowing test, wherein step by step you assess what can the patient swallow, and at the end of the test, you decide whether you place the patient on nasogastric tubing to facilitate nutrition and medication intake. Kasi ang hirap niya, eh, 'no? Mahirap 'to. So, very important 'to, 'no? Ang particular dito yung palatal symmetry upon phonation, 'no? You ask the patient to vocalize prolonged and look for the palatal elevation if there's symmetry. Okay. 11, purely motor. Tongue for the 12. Okay. Now, for the motor, we assess yung corticospinal tract, no? Together with the tract outside, yung extrapyramidal. Pwede na rin to. Kasi for the tone, di ba? You check the tone if it's rigid or spastic, no? Or normal or flaccid. Okay. So doon mo matitest siya. So you do your observation first. You check for the muscle tone, the range of motion. Wag lang basta-basta magano. So very passive, no? Passive, slowly. Be careful, no? Baka merong makikita mo kaagad yung limited na motion. So before doing the manual muscle testing, don't jump don't jump into doing the manual muscle testing, okay? Some of the maneuvers, okay? I think you saw the video, no? From our department. Okay. For the sensory, we assess three, actually tatlo to eh. The anterior and lateral spinothalamic and the dorsal column. Very sensitive would be pain and temperature, since kung fine touch kasi can be by the dorsal column. So you have to isolate. So dorsal column, we do joint position sense and uh, Romberg's joint position vibration sense, if you want to test the dorsal column alone. So if you want to do very specific on the spinothalamic, painful stimulus and yung temperature. Okay? Yun yung challenge sa sensory exam. It's very subjective, especially if the chief complaint is say, pertains to a sensation or bad experience na only the patient can feel, no? Like headache, arm pain, numbness, bawas yung pakiramdam. So, very subjective. Also, dizziness nga eh, can be very subjective. So, like I said, we rely on our objective data. No? So, in your PE, you need an objective data that the patient has a sensory problem. That's the challenge. And I think you know how to elicit that objective data. Bear in mind, very important in dealing with sensory problems or complaints is the dermatoma level. Now, as mentioned, gait and coordination, it's subserved by different parts of the nervous system. Okay. Pero we usually do after the motor exam and the sensory with the reflexes, we do the cerebellum before we do the gait. Okay. Kasi sometimes we pick up problems in the cerebellum during cerebellar testing na we cannot proceed with the gait. Like for example, patient cannot tolerate um, standing up, okay, or siguro severe dizziness. Hindi niya kaya mag-walk in a straight line, etc. So very obvious na. Okay. And then the meninges. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions? Any questions or comments? Your next synchronous activity for next week, I'll upload the lecture in Canvas this weekend together with the quiz at saka yung case protocol. So I leave it up to you who will what group will present by next week. Okay. As I mentioned, you have 20 all year round. You have 24 topics, so you need to divide yourselves into 24 groups. Okay. If you don't have any questions, then let's close this Zoom meeting. Okay. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you po, Doc.
Doc.
Thank you po.
Thank you po, Doc.
Thank you po, Doc.